Hello again, everyone. Mark Busich of Hudson County View. Thanks again for participating, joining us on another Thursday afternoon for another installment of Hudson County View Live and Uncut. More news, of course, that we had to discuss. A lot of the news that just like we discussed last week, more news to discuss this week, and there's plenty of it. Last night, the Jersey City Council held its another virtual. Of course, many of you know that city councils are still holding virtual town halls and city council meetings via Microsoft Teams and sometimes Zoom as well. And well, the Jersey City Council's meeting last night, they talked about how they finally, they first had tabled an ordinance to prevent the installation of 5G utility poles for a total number of 72 around the city. Well, they voted last night to approve that ordinance. And also, Hoboken had its city council meeting last night. I believe that was via Zoom and covered by our fellow reporter, Corey McDonald. And the city council there decided by with a vote of 6-3 to abolish or to dismantle the Office of Constituent Affairs, which is headed by Caroline Caulfield and Magdalia Pagan Milano. Of course, the vote was along, you could say, along party lines with council members Jim Doyle, Phil Cohen, and Emily Jabor voting against the ordinance, while the other six members of the council slate voted for the abolition of the Office of Constituent Affairs. And we also will be talking about how 2 deer were spotted in the Mile Square City. This comes on the heels of a gray seal pup being found sunbathing along the Hoboken waterfront. And then, of course, we'll get to the issue surrounding the Giant player, DeAndre Baker, who had a warrant out for his arrest. So those are some of the stories that we'll be getting to in this week's segments. And so please stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712. The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Hello again, everyone. Mark Busich, Hudson County View, and thanks again for this participating in this recent installment of Hudson County View Live and Uncut. Just want to give a mention before we get into our story about the Jersey City Council passing an ordinance that will allow for the installation of 72 new utility poles that will support 5G infrastructure. Well, the New Jersey Department of Health released its most recent numbers is regarding the number of COVID cases and deaths, unfortunately, in the county. And that stands right now at 17,814 cases, with 1,121 deaths. So those are the recent statistics in Hudson County by the New Jersey Department of Health. So as I said, we want to talk in this particular segment about the Jersey City Council finally moving ahead with an ordinance that paves the way for the city to install, as I said earlier, 72 new utility poles to support 5G infrastructure. Now, up to this point, everyone's receiving their internet and accessing their email and getting out over the internet via 4G. Well, 5G is being promoted as a way to even gain faster access speeds, upload and download speeds over the internet. So the ordinance was first tabled back in April because Ward A Councilwoman Denise Ridley and also Ward C Councilman Richard Bargiano had a lot of concerns. They felt that they weren't really sure about what they called the safety of whether or not the safety regarding 5G cellular technology. And even Councilman Richard Bargiano went so far as to say that he saw on Facebook, which we were the only outlet to report at the City Council's May 4th caucus meeting, where Councilman Bargiano said that he saw on a Facebook post that the amount of radiation levels being emitted from 5G utility poles in some parts of the country where they're already installed was just unbelievable, in his words. So he had a lot of concerns, and he expressed that again last night. So as expected, he was the one of 3 no votes to move the ordinance, to vote against the ordinance. He was joined in the no vote by Ward E Councilman James Solomon and Councilman at Large Rolando Lavaro. Ward A Councilwoman Denise Ridley said that, and again, she had voted to table the ordinance back in April, and she decided to vote yes because, of course, she explained, as some of the other council members who voted yes, that they're concerned that the lawsuit if they did not pass the ordinance last night, well, the vendor, Cross River Fiber, which is now called Zenfi Networks, they immediately launched a lawsuit against the city when the city council tabled the ordinance back on Wednesday, May 6th. And the next day, the day after, Zenfi Networks immediately filed a lawsuit against the city, as indicated. So Councilwoman Denise Ridley said that while she still had many concerns about the safety of 5G infrastructure, she said she didn't want the city, especially during this pandemic and with the city, Jersey City as a whole, facing a potential budget shortfall of maybe somewhere in the area of $70 million. She did not want the city to be incurring substantial legal costs, legal fees, in a case which she said that she was told by Corporation Counsel that they may not be able to win, because as First Assistant Corporation Counsel Nick Strasser explained to the council at its council meeting on Wednesday, May 6th, and also again last night, the FCC, that's the Federal Communications Commission, has ultimate purview about whether or not 5G cellular technology is safe and where these utility poles can be placed around the city. So she said that she would vote yes, despite some of her reservations. Now, the council did add a late-on item to their agenda last night, which was a resolution calling for New Jersey's congressional delegation, that's Albio Series and Donald Payne, as well as the U.S. Senators Cory Booker and Bob Menendez, to ask them if they could lobby in Congress to see if they can make any changes to the 1996 Telecommunications Act that would allow municipalities, give them more ability to determine themselves rather than the FCC having that sole decision making, to allow municipalities to have more freedom in how they can determine where to place the 5G utility poles. So it looks like we're going to be coming up on another commercial break. We'll add maybe just a couple more things to say about this particular topic when we get back from commercial break. Please stay with us.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Hello again, everyone. Mark Busich of Hudson County View. Thanks again for joining us this Thursday afternoon for another show. I just want to pick up where we left off regarding the discussion of the Jersey City finally passing the ordinance to allow for the installation of 72 new utility poles, which has not only some of the council members who voted no have them concerned, but also even some members of the public have been concerned about, because, for example, they don't know where these utility poles will be ultimately and eventually placed. But Richard Boggiano is the one who's been really making the point and emphasizing that he's really concerned about the safety of this, whether or not there are any health effects, any potential health hazards from this technology. And as we indicated earlier, he said in a Facebook post that said that that there were high levels of radiation. But of course, Nick Strasser, First Assistant Corporation Counsel, said, in fact, not only Nick Strasser, but the Chief Administrative Officer, Robert Cicada, from the Zen5, which is now Zen5 Networks, said that the level of radiation being emitted from 5G cell towers or utility poles is no greater than what the amount of radiation that's emitted from a typical or standard Wi-Fi router. But during yesterday's city council meeting, nonetheless, Ward C Councilman Richard Boggiano said, and before he voted no, he said, as I said, and I'll just read this quote to you. This is his direct quote from last night's meeting. As I said, there are many scientists that disagree totally with what the FCC says. And I'll tell you something. Anybody who gets sick, I hope they not only sue the city, they sue the judge or any court that ever says that we have to go along with this. I think it's a disgrace, and I say no. So there you have it from Ward C Councilman Richard Boggiano. But some of the other council members explained their vote too, whether they were voting yes or no. And newly appointed newly appointed Councilman Yusuf Saleh said that, well, the city may not have any leg to stand on in court because the city has already authorized and signed off on 2 previous contracts with 2 different vendors for the installation of 5G in another part of the city. So he said, for example, the court would just simply say, well, you've already authorized this technology to be placed in the city, but now you're debating whether or not whether this particular vendor, Zen5 Networks, should go forward with its installation of 5G cellular infrastructure. So that's all we have to say about that particular ordinance last night. Again, it consumed many different meetings of the city council within the last 2 months, and we were there to report as extensively as we could on that particular issue. But the next issue that we want to get to pertains to Weehawken native DeAndre Baker, who was had a warrant out for his arrest because back in early May 7th, that is, he was accused along with the Seattle football player Quentin Dunbar, and they were both well, not charged. They haven't been charged just yet, but they were both received warrants because they were supposedly both had stolen, were charged with, well, they were actually charged with, I should say, armed robbery and aggravated assault. And some of the information pertaining to that, to their warrants, is that DeAndre Baker and both Quentin Dunbar stole approximately 4 watches, which had a value of $50,000. Now the Giants have not. Now DeAndre Baker's lawyer, Jersey City lawyer, Patrick Patel, has said that all these stories coming out of Florida and from the police department there in Murmur, Florida, where this particular act took place, have been sensational at best. In fact, he said that DeAndre Baker was in a car waiting to leave the premises rather than getting in a getaway car after supposedly the stolen theft. So we need to go to commercial break right now, but we'll be right back.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pan & Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panandpintoproperties.com. Pan & Pinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for that abrupt transition to the commercial break in the last segment. But we want to now switch gears to the Mile Square City, Hoboken, where we have two stories coming out of Hoboken recently. Last night, of course, the city council there held its bi-weekly meeting. And as we indicated at the opening of the broadcast, they voted along party lines, that is, to abolish the Office of Constituent Affairs, which is led by Caroline Caulfield and Migdalia Pagan-Milano. And according to, which incurred the wrath of Hoboken Mayor Robbie Bala, who said that the vote by the 6 council members to abolish the Office of Constituent Affairs is a vindictive one. But those 6 council members said that they would disagree because the city is facing anywhere. Now there are different numbers being thrown about. Some say that the budget deficit in the Mile Square City is about $12 million. Some say it's about $14 million, and others are saying that it could be as high as $20 million. Now the city has not put forth its budget, even though it has announced that it wants to lay off up to 26 municipal employees, which is still on the books. Now that's obviously a drop off from the 79 potential layoffs that the city announced back in early March when the pandemic started to hit. And as we've said in the last couple of weeks, Hoboken city officials led by Hoboken Mayor Robbie Bala that the city is just not bringing in the revenue because of all the businesses that have closed down due to the pandemic and strict stay-at-home orders and social distancing, which is preventing people from visiting their local businesses. And so the city isn't receiving as much money from parking revenues and the hospitality sector, and as well as the food services sector. But the council persons who voted against the elimination of the Office of Constituent Affairs were Ravi Bala allies Jim Doyle, Emily Jabbour, and Phil Cohen. Now, the office seems to obviously plays an important role within the city because it helps the elderly and disabled, and it also they seem to do a very good job in soliciting the hard work of volunteers in the city to provide those types of services to the disabled and the elderly. But according to the 6 council members, such as First Ward Councilman Michael DeFrisco and Second Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher, that the office, they said, and I think it was Fourth Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos, who's actually was quoted in the story last night, that the Office of Constituent Affairs is actually a luxury when the city's budget when the city has a very when its budget is in the black. So now that obviously it's in the red, it's an office that it cannot support the salaries of. But of course, Emily Jabbour and Phil Cohen and Jim Doyle said, well, why are you, if you're looking for layoffs, why are you just looking strictly at the Office of Constituent Affairs? Shouldn't this be across the board? But they went ahead and voted for that elimination. Now, of course, Ravi Bala said that it was a vindictive vote, and he said that he would veto that vote. But of course, then the city council, if the vote stays as planned, as it did last night, 6-3, well, then they could easily override the mayor's veto. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out once Ravi Bala vetoes the city council's vote from last night. So again, we're going to be going to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk stay in Hoboken, but this one is a little bit of a lighthearted story, so please stay with us.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
You know those times when you need to see the doctor, but you just can't get to the doctor? So where do you go? Go to the App Store, download the Telemed app from RWJ Barnabas Health, and you see the doctor right away. From any mobile device. Whenever you want, wherever you are.
Quality care, no appointment necessary. The doctor is online when you download the Telemed app.
Don't you feel better already?
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Hello again, everyone. Mark Busich of Hudson County View. Thanks again for staying with us on this newest installment. Thanks again for joining us on this Thursday broadcast. And we are going to stay in Hoboken because this is an interesting story. Just a couple days ago, 2 deer were spotted, and you can see the video here. And as the police are trying to do their best to capture the 2 deer there, so they can bring them back up to the wild. And there they are running along. They were spotted, I think, originally at 15th Street and Madison in Hoboken in the Mile Square City. Now nobody knows obviously where they come from, but of course this deer incident is a second one in the last couple of weeks, because it was the deer was rescued recently from the Hudson River when the North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue Department rescued a deer from the Hudson River near Weehawken, just on the boundary there between Hoboken and Weehawken. And there's a good chance that some were speculating that there's a good chance that the deer are making their way south from the Palisades, which of course The Palisades are obviously in Hudson County, but it's more heavily forested once you get north of the George Washington Bridge. In fact, that's all part of the Palisade Interstate Park. But the whole Palisades, which is interesting, runs a whole 62 miles from about Jersey City, going into Weehawken and all the way up through Rockland County in New York into Haverstraw, which is near West Point. And of course, another wildlife sighting in Hoboken 2 weeks ago. This was actually before the incident with the deer being rescued in the Hudson River. But a gray seal pup was seen sunbathing along the Hoboken waterfront, and of course that may have been right where the Union Dry Dock site, not too far from where the Union Dry Dock site is. You know, and interesting, being that I mentioned Union Dry Dock, that's an issue that we heavily reported on all of last year because of the back and forth between New York Waterway and the city about what to eventually to do with that property. And organizations of environmental advocates and waterfront advocates like the organization Fund for a Better Waterfront has said that they need to preserve that park space. And of course, if the New York Waterway was able to load if that were to act as a maintenance facility there near Union Dry Dock, of course, that would have prevented any type of wildlife sightings from being spotted along the Hoboken waterfront, which is obviously, welcomed by the environmental advocates and the waterfront advocates. So the other last thing we would like to talk to today, get the last subject, last story for today, is that Governor Phil Murphy, in his weekly or daily, I should say, daily address about the state's reaction and giving updates on the number of COVID-19 cases throughout the state and how the state has been responding, and eventually how it'll be opened up. Now, remember, he just announced, he and New Jersey officials announced that New Jersey will be opening up its beaches on Memorial Day weekend, and he expects that other businesses will be opening up, just like they're opening up throughout states around the country. In fact, all 50 states now in the country have opened up some of their businesses to a certain extent. So, but this particular story that Phil Murphy wanted to make mention of was that a total of 7 Walmarts in New Jersey, and 2 of them right in Hudson County, Hudson County residents will be able to self-administer and self-swab with a to test themselves to find out if they have COVID-19, and they can go to one of 2. They can go to 2 Walmarts in Hudson County. One is located at 150 Harrison Avenue in Kearney, and the other one is at 88th Street along Tonley Avenue in North Bergen. So that is one of the recent updates that the Governor Phil Murphy has provided. Again, he should be announcing soon could be, again, just a matter of a couple of weeks when he announces that the state will be resuming opening up different businesses. Even as we know, he's already opened up county and state parks, and the different municipalities in Hudson County have opened up their parks. So it'll be interesting to see in the next 2 weeks what transpires if New Jersey's economy indeed opens up completely. So when we return next week, we should have more information about that. So we want to thank everyone who joined us for this recent installment of Hudson County View Live and Uncut. I'm Mark Busich, filling in for John Hines. He should be returning soon, and we look forward to his return. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Take care.